Greetings everyone. This is Anurag, the Consulting Director of 180DC Hindu branch, and with me there is Amol Gupta, the Chief Advisor of Abhyas, the Internships cell of Hindu College. We bring to you a podcast series, Beyond the Résumés. This series would encompass diversified experiences of individuals who made it all about beyond their resumes. Today we have Harshita Kukreja, the former president of 180DC Hindu branch and currently working as an associate at Accenture.
Thank you for joining us today, Harshita. How are you?
I'm good. Hey Anurag, hey Amol. Glad to be here today.
Okay, so this is just going to be a very impromptu kind of a session, and we just get right into it. Let's start with your views on consulting.
Right. Okay. So I think consulting is, where to start? Because it's everywhere. Like even if you're talking to a friend, they come to you for a problem, you just analyze what they went through and then you give your recommendations. So it's as simple as that, and then it can get as complicated as what the firms like MBB firms or other technical firms are doing. Like when they do professional consulting, so that is just way more structured as compared to you just giving random advice on basis of no data points. So consulting is just giving recommendations. Professional consulting is giving recommendations on basis of data points and also at times implementing them for the client.
I just have a question, Harshita, about this only.
Yeah.
What's your role at Accenture and what sort of work that you do in the domain of consulting there? What are the specifics, if you can get into the specifics of it?
Yes, I'm very excited to answer that question. So basically, Accenture is an IT consulting. When I got into it, I thought, it will be just any other consulting. We would be expected to make PPTs. But when we started my project, it's actually tech consulting. So what you do in tech consulting is not just make PPTs. PPTs is like maybe 10% of the project. But you tell the client, you propose to the client what sort of software they should be, using, or they should modify it, or they should implement, and then you actually implement for it, test them for it, and then you deploy, and then you also make the enhancements. So my work currently is with a contact center transformation project with a global insurance company, wherein once the bot is deployed, I test them for it, and then we deploy it for the public, and then it's live. So it's not the traditional consulting that you guys were expecting, but it's another interesting aspect of it.
Right, that does sound interesting. Well, could you answer why consulting? Like you were the president at 180 in your tenure, and then you moved on to Accenture.
Yes.
So what made you get into consulting?
I think firstly, consulting is the it thing when it comes to DU, right? You don't see a lot of other options. That's a little hard reality of the situation, but at the same time, the positive part of it is that consulting can take you anywhere. Like, it's very easy to switch into other fields once you're familiar with once you're familiar with different kinds of industries, or once you're familiar with how to work with vagueness. Because in consulting, you work a lot with vagueness. You're not very clear on a lot of aspects. The deadlines are very tight. So the kind of person you become professionally is what you can apply to different industries, and then it's easier to switch. So I think as a base, consulting is very good to get into. That is why I think consulting was a choice.
Right.
Okay, Harshita, I just wanted to ask you that you did a lot of internships while being at college, and you were a summer associate at a political consulting firm, then also the president of 180 that we have been talking about from the very beginning. Then you were a consultant at Impact Consulting, student consultant at the Bridge Project. So how these internships shaped you, or how these internships got you into the domain of consulting? What basically intrigued you to join it?
I think, so firstly, taking the second part of the question, what intrigued me in joining them was that from day one, I am a very proactive and a very curious person. So when I got into college and I saw that, okay, the concept of internships is there, and, we can just apply to different organizations and we can work with them. So that really intrigued me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to 10 things together and let's see how that works out. Let's try to explore different things. So that is why I took a lot of different internships. Now coming to the first part of the question, that how it shaped me, shaped my CV or shaped me as a person, I think the kind of skills I could hone or imbibe professionally, or the soft skills mainly, were like amazing. I don't think I would have got that opportunity to be so good at communication in a professional setup or be so comfortable talking to people who are like 10, 20 years, older than me. So I think that sort of comfort, that sort of knowing that you're okay at communication is very much required in the professional setup. And I think those skills were what were the most important. I would rate the technical skills or knowing how to do market research or using Excel or making PPT secondary, because I think that is something that you can still learn. You still learn in school, you still learn in college through projects. But just being comfortable in a professional setup and knowing how to interact is, I think, the key skill that internships teach you.
Right. So you're giving more value to soft skills like communication as compared to hard skills, which can be learned more easily.
Yes, also because I think when you're in college, honestly, I don't feel it's very rare to find good opportunities wherein you are actually taught hard skills and you can actually apply them, because usually most of the internships you find do not require a lot of technical skills as such, because we people are not from a technical background, either people from coding do that, or we just don't get enough opportunities in DU, I feel, which would require a lot of hard skills per se. So I think that is why we guys are we're smart enough to realize the importance of soft skills and hone them.
Right. And you spoke of internships. Do you consider the fact that first year should be doing internships? That is a culture that is now observed at DU. That first year should get into internships right away or as soon as possible. So do you think that's a good thing? Do you just generally think that first year should be doing internships?
Why not? I mean, if especially if your goal is placement, then why not? And it's not about internship. It's about doing things that interest you most apart from the academics, like be it competitions, be it starting a project of your own, like a mini project or a big project, or just a market research project, or maybe just opening up a new society, or just maybe internships. So internships come as a part of that, but I think just exploring something apart from academics is very important in college, because that is the DU culture and that is why you're in college. I feel that.
Right. And as first years, they don't have a lot of knowledge about all these things. Like taking the initiative is something that comes with a bit of difficulty to them. So, what
Yeah.
advice do you think you would have for them, people who don't know much about things?
I think that they should just be curious enough and comfortable enough to reach out to their seniors, because that is where they get the advice from. You cannot expect a first year to just be so confident that they go ahead and say that, okay, I'm starting this and I can do this by myself. I think the right guidance is very important for them to get the validation that yes, they can do that. This is a possibility that they can consider. Secondly, they are moving in the right direction. They are taking the right steps, or they are checking all the boxes. So I think it's just very important to reach out to your seniors constantly and just ask about the possibilities that are out there for them in college.
I personally feel that was me who did not know much about consulting in the first place and joined 180 impromptu and then got into it and then really liked it, got 3 projects as a lead. So that was great for me. I just want to ask you, Harshita, some people do come with a mindset that they want to get into finance or consulting and join societies with a specific motive of going into specific organizations.
Yes.
So, what advice do you have for them? Like, if they are goal oriented, what are the things that they should look for in societies? How do they hone their skills? The first years I'm talking about.
I think firstly I would like to comment on this approach itself, because I have been there, done that, I've been through all of it, and it's just we're so restricted, right? I mean, we see all these top companies, these are finance consulting, okay, so we'll also do this only, and then we don't think much about other industries or things that we can do in life. So I think firstly our approach gets very restricted from there. Like I mentioned, in DU consulting is the it industry. So, in societies also, I know a lot of societies are also related to these industries only. I have led a society which was related to consulting. So, but I feel these societies also provide you opportunities to know more about other industries, because even when you're working in consulting, you say it's consulting, but when you're doing marketing, you're doing finance, you're doing HR, you might be doing hospitality as well. You can do anything that you want. So So I would say take these opportunities to explore more about other industries. Just widen your knowledge. Just absorb everything that you can, and not just stick to what the society is named for or supposed to be doing. So just use that platform to learn as much as you can about the world and the corporate world as a whole.
That basically intrigues me about one specific domain of consulting, which we usually don't talk about in our college or in DU itself, and we do not have even resources to venture into that particular field. That being political consulting, policy consulting, or governance
Hmm.
consulting. These three fields are very nascent. I think
Yeah.
that the scope of their growth is very high, but it's not
For sure.
happening right now because we do not get enough opportunities in the college. So that's what opinion do you have about that?
I think we don't get enough opportunities for it for a reason, because opening up a political consultancy is not as simple as opening up a management consulting or a tech consulting or any other consulting firm. A political consultancy firm is usually or always associated to one particular political party, and you're well aware of that fact. You have also worked with a similar organization. So I think it's very the role of the political consulting organization would come into place once they have a political party to support or devise policies for or consult. So maybe at college, what you can do is, if someone is really interested, once elections are back, I'm not sure if they are right now, but like if they're back already or if they will be in the future, then probably someone who's really keen can start their own political consultancy in house and maybe align with like one of the parties, and they'll get that student exposure. But apart from that, I think the gap is that it's not as easy as any other consultancy. Like there's a lot of politics involved in it, ironically. So yeah.
Okay, so following up to the previous question, what sort of recommendations would you give to first years from other backgrounds apart from commerce and economics? Because these
Hmm.
two streams get most of the placement opportunities and the eligibility criteria, they fall into that.
Yeah.
But for other streams, there is not much opportunity that is available to them. So, what
Hmm.
recommendation would you give to them if they want to venture into the field of consulting? What should they do about it?
I think so. I know people who have gone into consulting, who are working at my firm, who were from philosophy, who were from English, in other political consultancy firms, or in other consultancy firms also. I know who were from English, who were from philosophy and other backgrounds, who were not from commerce and eco or stats. So it's not as tough as it sounds, but what is important is that you prove to the recruiter that your course might not be economics or commerce, but that does not mean that your experience does not come up to the mark. You need to do good internships, you need to get into good societies, and you need to get that exposure, because of course you cannot tell them that without any exposure, that okay, I'm from zoology but I don't have any relevant exposure, but you should still consider me, because that is not fair otherwise. You cannot complain about that. Commerce and economics people focus a lot on similar internships in consulting. That is why they also get that edge. So consulting is, I mean, you need to just have the right kind of experience through internships and through societies. So yeah.
All right, but would you agree that the consulting society, the consulting companies or brands are a bit, they discriminate a bit towards the other
Yes.
batches?
Yes.
So that
Right.
is true,
For
that
sure.
commerce and economics are favored over other batches.
Yes, and I've heard that. I've heard that even in commerce and economics, they do sometimes. Like sometimes they want more eco people, sometimes they want more commerce people as per their business requirements. But that happens a lot, and that happens due to the mindset of the companies, that they just already decide that okay, they're from commerce because of their academics and because they're from eco. They have the relevant academic exposure as well. If we take someone from say botany, how on earth are they going to help us out in business field? So they do have that discriminatory mindset, but at times some companies do try to relax the eligibility criteria. So that's happening, but still I agree with that point.
Also, but what really matters is that you give yourself that exposure to different experiences
Yes.
and different societies and work, so that you become eligible for that particular role.
Yeah, eligible in terms of having a good CV as well. So yes.
Right. And, as the president at 180 during a tenure, how do you think that role helped you for the role that you're currently in at Accenture?
I think it's just I was so when I used to so basically when I used to talk to people who were already working in consulting, and the kind of business model they used to tell of their company, that we are working on this project, there's this director who's working with us, and we have these many weeks, and etc etc. I could just totally relate, and I would tell them, what, we do all these exact same things in my society as well. Like, I'm the president of something which is doing the exact same thing, but of course at student level. And we are also getting in touch with organizations. We also do our outreach and sales, and then we onboard them with a contract and everything. So I think just having that validation that what I am doing is also what the consulting firms are doing, just made me more confident in my interviews. So of course there was relevant exposure with respect to the consulting projects that we got and the other internships. But I think just having that validation of the similar business model also made me feel very confident.
Right, you spoke about the business model, but what I meant was more about your leadership role, like leading a team, leading a complete society. How has that helped
Okay.
you for your role at Accenture right now?
So I think when you lead a team at any capacity, be it a president or a VP or consulting director, or even in your second year if you're a Gen Sec, or having a project leader, just basically when you're managing people, you learn a lot about being diplomatic or being empathetic or being understanding, or you just learn a lot in general about yourself, about how to conduct yourself with friends, informally, formally, with people who are your friends but working under you. So I think you just know how to talk, and you just that skill is very very useful in corporate. Like, because in corporate you cannot just blurt out anything or just do things at your own pace. You have to get things done. You have to do things for others. So I think people management is very important when it comes to that. So I think I learned a lot during when I was like leading the society in the capacity of a president. So yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so talking about leadership positions as we were right now,
Yeah.
and also the transitioning phase that is currently going on in any college across DU, the new batches would be coming up who would be taking up the leadership positions in the senior core of different societies. What do you think about how a leadership position helps you secure a job? Like, does it help you in a positive manner? And what sort of skills does it give you?
I think talking about the fact that, so I did talk about the kind of skills it gives you. Of course, you're leading a team, you learn about people management, and you also learn more about the inner functioning of a society. So you understand the know-how of it. You're just not any member, you're involved in decision making. So those are the skills, but also coming to the fact that how it helps you in placements. So there are two parts to it. Firstly, the validation it gives you. You feel very confident that okay, now I have this. There are more chances that I'll be selected over someone who does not have this. That is very normal to feel. You guys will also be feeling that. So that is where you get your confidence from. Confidence from. And secondly, that same validation is also happening with the recruiter when they see two CVs who are very similar maybe, and one person has a leadership a role. So they do feel that okay, this person has managed some students. They might, they went through the interview process and they've managed some people. Did all of this work that they've listed in their CV. So they do give weightage to that, and they want people in their company who can take leadership positions also, right? So I think from that factor, the recruiter and you both get validation. So yeah, both feel more confident about their choices then.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, coming on to the one of the questions that I personally wanted to ask you is that if you
Yeah.
could travel back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before starting your journey at Accenture, what would it be?
I think it will be just that the fact that tech consulting means tech consulting, so you need to seriously understand what tech consulting is and not just be in your head that okay PPTs ही होंगे इनमें. So I think that was like a real like when I realized that okay this is not PPTs at all. It was a shock, surprise. I don't know what it was, but I wish I gave more weightage to the facts and time in understanding that it's tech and not any other management consulting. So yeah.
Right. And going back in time even further, what advice would you give yourself before starting your journey at Hindu?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think just so of course like a main regret will always be that because we were the COVID batch, so we missed a lot of opportunities. But I think it would still be that just be more confident and like as a first year I was a little nervous to approach my seniors. I think just being very comfortable with my seniors would have made things so much easier. I would have had so many connects. So I'm not in touch with them now, and I just feel I have that one regret that I should have been more confident, interacted with my seniors more, and just did what I wanted to do rather than thinking that okay, just work, 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 and I just do internships and that will get me everywhere. So yeah.
Also, now that the first years are there, they would also be going into the junior core of every society. And they sometimes have to face rejection from a lot of societies, not being a part of the
Yeah.
core. And that
Yeah.
really takes a lot of toll on their mental health. Any sort of suggestion that you would want to give them?
I think they should take inspiration from their seniors who were not having any leadership or core positions as such and still are like working in similar firms, even better firms, doing amazing in life from my batch, from my seniors. So just like what you have gone through, we have also gone through that. My batches previous to us have also gone through the same thing. So find them out on LinkedIn or just check out their profiles and you will get a lot of satisfaction that okay they have also reached amazing places and they were in the same boat as I am right now. So it's okay, it's not the end of the world. So I think you should just take inspiration and also just remind yourself in college we just get too worried that okay societies and internships are everything, like my world starts from societies, it ends at internship. I did everything right and now I will get the best company. It's very important to just take that time for yourself also and just get your priorities sorted for long term as well, and it's not and not make societies and internships everything about yourself. So yeah.
Right. And talking a bit about COVID, matlab, you were one of the COVID batch, and matlab,
Yeah.
so were we. But talking a bit about COVID, now we're seeing a bit of an upturn in the COVID cases,
Yeah.
especially in NCR.
Yeah.
Do you think that you have observed any changes in the corporate space as well? Maybe a shift towards work from home again?
Oh, so basically in Accenture till now only the managers were visiting. We had it optional and we can go, we can opt not to go. It's totally chill till now. But I'm hearing some news that in June they might reopen, which is weird because considering the recent rise in cases. So Accenture is still like all in for work from home and they were planning to change in June. So let's see. I think we are yet to see the decision if the decision changes.
I think it majorly has to do with the number of cases that's rising, but if the number of casualties would not be higher, I don't think there would be any sort of reason to shut the corporate spaces or any sort of social spaces in general because that would not
Yeah.
cause any
Yeah,
harm.
that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yes. But of course, I mean, seeing the number of casualties that were there before, so it's just a little traumatic for everyone because
Definitely.
so many lives were lost.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that would be the end of the discussion, Harshita. It was a great time talking to you, for me and for Amul, both of us. And we learned a lot from this particular call. Hope you have a great day.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time talking to both of you. Stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.